You're working on something super compelling, and somehow the world just doesn't get it. Struggling to simplify your story, make it more compelling. Don't panic. It's hard. It's always hard. It's also worth it. Storytelling is probably the biggest difference between success and failure. The good news is there's a proven formula for this. We call it story-driven, and it's a proven approach for telling a truly compelling story. We've done this now with over 200 different companies, and we're still scoring a 10 out of 10, so we know it works, and we're happy to help you do it. But the goal of this brief is to show you exactly what we do so you can do it yourself. Why? The reason is simple. The world has some wicked problems, and the corporate giants just aren't going to solve this. We're on a mission to help passionate entrepreneurs create innovative solutions because that's our way of making a dent. And if your story sucks, you're just never going to make a dent. That's not okay. The thing is, the world's most successful entrepreneurs, they all have this one thing in common. It's the ability to tell their story in a way that attracts the talent and the money that they need to bring their vision to life. It's kind of the entrepreneurial superpower. And we're on a mission to put that power in the hands of every crazy ass, purpose driven entrepreneur we can find. To be clear, we're not here to talk about your product story. I'm sure that's already great. And even if it isn't great, there's agencies out there that can help you make it great. Now, we're here to talk about your big story, the one that convinces talent and investors to come join you and invest their money and their heartbeats to help bring your vision to life. Product stories are great. The thing is, it's their job to help people want to buy a product. That's not what you're trying to do when you're attracting talent and investors. They're not buying the product. They're buying the company. So the money stuff matters, but the truth is, to attract the very best requires a big story. They need to know what success looks like. They need to know why they should care. What's in it for them? They really need to know the mission. What is the really compelling purpose here? The problem is, the mission statement is simply not enough. On its own, it's just a bunch of words. People need the why. They need the whole story. They need to enthusiastically invest their money and their heartbeats to help you bring this vision to life. And for that, there has to be a bigger story. If it's just about money, all you're going to get is people who just want money. So this is not about creating a better pitch. I mean, it's going to help your pitch, but that's just a side benefit. Pitches are really just little snippets of the big story. It's a subset of the product and business story with a dash of vision or mission thrown in, all tweaked to actually match the audience. You're really just hoping to get them interested enough that they want to hear the whole story. Let's face it, if your pitch fails, you don't need to do anything. You don't need a big story because they're not interested. But if your pitch succeeds, the best possible outcome you can hope for is to hear someone say, "That's really interesting. Tell me more." Tell me more means you better be able to tell your full story in all its glory. Because if you can't, who can? The good news is this is a solved problem. This proven formula will get you there. Just follow this approach and you will get there. We really landed on this by watching tons and tons of keynotes from tons and tons of amazing entrepreneurs, learning from the masters. Because the thing is, that's what makes them so amazing. Well, after looking at hundreds of keynotes, a single keynote that makes it really, really easy to break down this approach. So it's a keynote called the Powerwall. It's done by Elon Musk. It was done before he became this really controversial figure. And actually, it's not about Musk at all. In fact, he kind of does a crappy job of delivery, which is one of the reasons why we chose it. The framework itself makes this very powerful. I've put the link in the notes in Vimeo. I'll also share this again at the end. I would really encourage you to watch it. But before we go there, why don't I show you the framework itself? And you can decide if this is going to work for you. And if it is, then I'll show you the link at the end and you can go watch it. So let's break it down. This is the framework he uses in this keynote, and we use it over and over and over again. It's amazingly effective. It starts with context. You have to set the story up so that people are agreeing immediately. It's really what's going on in the world that sets the stage for your story. If you do watch the Power Note Keywall, you'll see that they chose to use this really powerful visual, and it is powerful. But in having watched many, many, many of these keynotes, we've come to believe that actually the most powerful way to approach context is if you can tell a really human story that sets the stage for what's going on in the world, that leads you to the next step of the framework, which is the enemy. This is where we find something in the world that is totally wrong, and we shine a light on it and make it really, really clear that this has to get fixed. And this is hard, by the way, because you're trying to get an enemy that the whole story hangs off of. It's literally the tent pole of your story. And it's often not what you thought it was at the beginning. It's something that is really, really defensively wrong. Everyone will agree it's not okay. But you're not really trying to make an enemy here. You're trying to point out something in the world that just needs to be fixed. It turns out your vision is going to be the opposite of that. So it goes hand in hand with your vision. But the enemy is critical to your story. You'll see that again in the Elon keynote, they chose to use a really, really powerful visual to set up the stage for the enemy. It doesn't matter how you do it. The point is it has to be something that's inarguably not okay. Now, if it's really compelling and it's really broken and it really needs to get fixed, well, then you better show me that it's solvable, because otherwise all you've done is give me despair. It's hard to distill this down to first principles, but it's critical that you do it. This can't defy reality. This can't defy the laws of physics. We're trying to solve something that's absolutely not okay. And it turns out at a first principles level, you can solve it. That's critical to the story. If you watch the Powerwall keynote, pay attention to where he talks about the ability of how much energy is coming from the sun and how little space it would take to capture enough energy to power the entire US. That's him actually pointing out that this is quite doable. It doesn't defy the laws of physics. What's critical, though, is it can't be solvable by the incumbents. Otherwise, I'll just wait for the big guys to solve this. So it's very important to the logic flow of your story to point out why this is not going to be solved by the status quo. And it can't be some big, complicated reason. It's just got to be this simple, practical reason why they're just never going to do this. It's often how their business model works, or how their channel works, or how their brand is positioned, so that it's just simply impossible for them to actually pivot and go solve this problem. So if you watch the Powerwall keynote, pay attention to when he talks about existing batteries and just how crappy they are. What he's really doing is counter positioning Powerwall against the status quo. And that's really critical to your story. It's like, here's how the world works. Here's this really broken thing. These guys will never fix it for this reason. And that sets the stage for why you're going to fix it, which is the next piece of the framework. What's going on that opens a window of opportunity for you to solve this in a way that's sort of a no-brainer, like, well, of course we're going to do it that way. This is often called the epic insight. It's the thing that you see going on in the world that gives you the chance to leverage this new technology or this sociological shift to actually attack this problem, which leads us to the big idea, the really big, here's what we're going to do. And when it's all said and done, it's actually not that complicated. It's the opposite of the enemy. So in the end, we will have solved that fundamental problem. So actually, it's kind of anticlimactic when you tell the story this way, because the real tentpole of the story is, here's this really broken thing in the world, and we could fix it, but those guys will never do it. But I have this chance to do it because this is changing in the world. So here's what that looks like. Here's what's so compelling about solving that. One of the things I would encourage you as a strategist is spend some time understanding in the end state, when you've solved this, where does the value get captured? Because it's critical that you capture your fair share of the value created, and the way you tell your story either sets you up for that or it doesn't. Okay, what are we focused on? What's our beachhead? This is where we're really proving that, yeah, this is a huge, compelling vision, but we're very practical. We're executing on a beachhead, and we're making progress about that. So you're really talking about what you have to offer now and what's in it for the audience. If you watch the Powerwall keynote, his really big idea is, we're going to flatten this curve. It's going to go to zero. But he's using the Powerwall as the solution to this problem. And there has to be a clear ask. So what do you need people to do right now? Now, of course, at this point, if I want to help you, I really need to know why I should trust you. Because I didn't care about whether I trusted you or not before I knew your story, but now you've got me really wrapped up in this story. I really want to solve the enemy. I really like your vision. I really like the progress you're making. I want to help you, but do I trust you? And here's where we're just showing credibility points. And the truth of the matter is, you never have enough. Entrepreneurial journey is a constant search for ever better proof points. So you're going to update this over time as you accomplish new milestones, get more market traction, and so on. But you don't start with your credibility at the beginning because they don't even know your story. For what it's worth, the Powerwall presentation does one of the greatest possible ways of showing credibility. They just demonstrate it, and it's very powerful. You'll see that in the Powerwall keynote if you watch it. Okay, so that gets us to the end. And this is where you get to do the Steve Jobs trick. Oh yeah, one more thing. This is the really massively transformative purpose. This goes beyond the vision and the beachhead. This is the amazing amount of societal impact that could be made if this goes all the way. Maybe we won't go all the way, but if we do go all the way, here's what's possible. And the point of this part is that you're helping people envision how far this can actually go. And if you can't share that, who can? You'll see that in Powerwall keynote, where he talks about 2 billion power packs. 2 billion. Sounds crazy when I say it like this, but when you watch the way he builds up to why that's actually not impossible, it's not crazy. It's very powerful. Well, that's it. That's the framework for a very compelling story. This is what we call story-driven. Not only does it build great stories, it actually helps you build a great strategy. You'll find that the key elements of telling this story push your strategic thinking. That's why we use it. We're strategists. We do a story-driven approach to strategy formation. Okay, if you like the framework and you find it compelling, I'd really encourage you now to go watch the Powerwall keynote. The link's here, and I've also put it in the notes in the Vimeo summary. It's 18 minutes long, but it's really worth it. And what I'd like you to pay attention to is, first of all, the fact that he's not a genius speaker in this one. It's the framework that makes it so compelling. And second of all, the thing he does to turn this into a movement rather than just an ad that drones on about how great their solution is. Pay attention to the fact that the first half is actually all about the enemy and why it's not okay. It's really shining a light on a problem that absolutely has to get solved. And the second half is really a vision around how you solve that. And their product is a piece of that, but the vision of how to solve this is much bigger than just their product. He's creating a journey and he's setting the stage that it's within our power to solve this problem. And we're not doing it alone, and you need to come on the journey with us. It's incredibly powerful. I really encourage you to take an open mind on how powerful this framework is. Try to apply it on your story. That's it. I'm John McDonald with Rampworth. I appreciate your time. If we can help you in any way at all, don't hesitate to reach out. Get out there, tell a story that helps the world see what you see so you can make an impact. Thank you. Good luck.